Warning, this is part 2 as I am tackling all these, focusing on each chapter. This will be spoiler territory, just want to give that fair warning. This, the second part of my Persona 4 Dancing All Night review series, will have open spoilers for all content in and before chapter 2 of the game. Now, last we left off, the investigation team had been charging into the Midnight Stage by force to confront the culprit behind the Kahneman kitchen kidnapping and save the idol group before it was too late. Their manager, the ever-intimidating Miss Ochimizu, had been pulled in behind them while saving the lead of the group, Konami. Chapter 1 really offered an introduction. It was very story-heavy, and it acted as a long introduction before the game really gets into what it considers its rhythm. In the peace of their previous victories, the gang got back together to tackle the big new mystery on the block and save the day once again. They even reverted to their old looks for acceptably contrived reasons, honestly. Each and every one of them buckled down to take on the challenge head-on, regardless of their experience in dancing before, and their character development from the previous games really starts to show in Chapter 2. As Chapter 1 ended, the game split the group up into groups of 4 to pursue leads down 2 branching corridors present as they entered the Midnight Stage. The two teams split between the age groups present, while Teddy taking up the 4 spot on the younger team. Chapter 2 focuses on the struggles of the senior team of Yosuke, Yukiko, Chie, and Yu. Chapter 2 certainly has more rhythm to it, and that's true in both the pacing and the dance gameplay. Dancing takes a much larger center stage as the real bulk of the rescue efforts get underway. Instead of just dwelling on the tutorials and the first real dance like in Chapter 1, each member of the team of this 4 step up to plate as Risei blasts their tunes from across the dimension itself.
That was a great performance.
Yes, you were wonderful.
Phew! Not such a disappointment now, huh? It's not like I've been screwing around all this time, you know?
Starting with the songs not remixed from the game itself, Atlas seems intent on easing in fans with a transition into the new content through both story mode and song order alike. Gameplay is often crisp and starts introducing the more advanced methods to play the rhythm game. In the gameplay, a player can do a few things to play along with the rhythm. First, there are standard taps of the face buttons. Second, there are unison taps of the same face buttons. Third, there are button holds, which you just have to hold it in. And lastly, we have a disc jockey styled ring that doesn't really hurt you if you miss them. While the tutorials introduce these elements in Chapter 1, the songs in Chapter 2 start giving you a real feel for how they are actually used in combination. Each song becomes a little harder, with the difficulty curve on the songs clearly designed to match their appearance in the story mode. Having played through much of the game's setlist before I even started the story mode myself, the intricacies on display made sense, but will appear simple to those at least with that basic experience. So, the group of seniors travel deeper into the mysterious realm to come across a circus-styled area. Quickly overwhelmed by suddenly appearing massive shadows, the gang manages to ward them off with a song of dance of their own. Soon enough, they come across a relieved Tamami. Very competitive to the point of being abrasive sometimes, Tamami appears to have been labeled the Joker of the group. Her sincere efforts can often fall flat to the humor of the fans that follow the idol group. And the mysterious voice that controls the world? It knows this.
Look, they've come for you, Tamami. Stronger, more talented people, here to save a helpless little girl. Yes, I know that you aren't strong. You don't really want to be the best.
No, that's not true.
It slowly uses a twisted logic and the voices of her fans to try and convince her to embrace the personalities others want her to have. You and the others encourage her, but she's snatched away and quickly broken psychologically by the voice. As she embraces the new role that rejects her own opinion, a black shroud envelops her and transforms her into a shadow of comical proportions. Pun intended. The scenario, it is very reminiscent of the Persona 4 rescue scenes where they are rejecting their true selves, but with a new twist, and arguably much better executed. The dramatic pacing and plausibility of the situation developing into such a state are clearly at a higher level than what Persona 4 offered, but that's basically saying they've removed the pleas of the player for the investigation team to actually do something, as the enemy prepares itself. And as would be expected, she is saved by the 4 once the one of them steps up to give a heartfelt dance of their own. After lightly touching on the idea of dancing being a little silly earlier on, the game has clearly doubled down on the entire concept as dancing becomes the simple path forward to saving the day now. It's still a bit silly, but they do manage to not break the dramatic tones with its inclusion. Once Tamami is saved and she has rid her mind of all contemplation of believing in the voice again, Tamami joins the group and the voice wanders off to do other things. Soon enough, they run across a room oddly resembling the idol group's dressing room with a few surprises in store. First, it appears to be a safe zone Tamami can rest in. Second, Misochimizu randomly shows up to create some minor conflict between herself and the investigation team, but then takes care of Tamami while the group moves on. Third, there is a dark note detailing a look into a person's world without any genuine bonds to attach to. The gang leaves it be for now, making sure to recall it if it's needed for evidence later. The rest of the chapter follows the same formula once more over. Tomoe, the oldest member of the group with the sex appeal to match well beyond the others, is roped into the same trick by the voice. In reality, she is a bit of a weird girl who is quite shy, likes manga, and even is the type that might end up buying the same copy of the manga volume she just bought by a mistake. The voice lures her into embracing her sex appeal, and rinse, wash, repeat. The gang saves the day, they make a little dance, and yada yada yada, Tomoe's back to her good old self. Once saved, she appears to get along with Yukiko quite well, as Chie notes an eerie similarity, especially in their laugh.
No, it is funny for sure. I mean, who'd need two, right?
Oh boy, so she's that type? Oh, and I thought one was tough enough to deal with.
The dances in this set start showing the remixes off. Down the line, essentially, as you've gone through some of the earlier non-remix versions, they start throwing in the new ones in the later stages. And it's hard to deny the quality of the music and the remixes. Yes, there's a few bad apples, and if you've listened to the music on YouTube and such, there are going to be a few that just don't meld with your taste very well. But even some of those, the ones that are, like, for me, initially just struck me as, oh my goodness, those are not good at all, they started to grow on me over time. They're not bad to me anymore as much as they are acceptable for the placement they are in the series. With all the dancing done, a new room appears that is, once again, quite reminiscent of the dressing room of the idol group. And they enter once again to leave Tomoe with the ever-appearing Misochimizu and find another note detailing the psyche of what appears to be the culprit even more this time. Some discussion of the idol who committed suicide being involved is thrown around, but Misochimizu decides to step in quickly and shoots down the idea with an almost offended attitude. Without enough evidence to really come to a conclusion, the four moved on, discussed it a bit more, to Chie's disconcern over the ghost discussion, and they end up ending the conversation as the room under feet shakes. With this shaking going on, they run off to investigate, and then chapter ends. Chapter 2, mechanically, is really much of a progress bar. More songs are introduced as the game feels you're ready to get the training shoes off, and a small sloped learning curve appears to have been established. There's some really interesting looks at what the game wants to be narratively too. In many ways, it has started building off what Persona 4 did, with the improved takes on similar situations from it. In other ways, the game feels like it wants to be a sequel, with the character growth of the investigation team seeming evident as they offer their sincere feelings and convictions through the dancing concepts. Next time, off to Chapter 3 and the other half of the investigation team.
Some dream keeps me going through the night. Some dream keeps me going through the night.
An earthquake! What? This is not a good sign!
Something might have happened to the other group. Let's hurry.